Operation Status Quo. Operation Status Quo. Prepare to engage. Operation Status Quo. Ready to engage. Operation Status Quo. Engaged. Engaged. Oh, hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, here to Operation Status Quo. Here on a beautiful... what is today? Today's Wednesday, right? Oh my goodness gracious. I almost forgot what day of the week it is. But you know, that's how it is in this world that we're living in nowadays, ladies and gentlemen. Like everything's just kind of bleeding into the next. And of course we know that there really is no such thing as time anyway. Ironically enough, when I went for my swim today at the pool, there was a mother there with her two little girls. And the girl said, Mommy, when is it going to be Friday? You know, and I just thought it was kind of funny because I thought to myself, geez, like it just goes to show, you know, how we lose all that as we get older, right? Like, you know, you know, I mean, you say it differently when you become an adult. When you're a kid, you're like, Mommy, when's it going to be Friday? When you're an adult, you're like, oh, Lord, sweet Jesus, when's it going to be Friday? Please, somebody help me. I can't take it. Please, for goodness gracious sake. Ugh. All right, that's too much already for you to start. We didn't even get anywhere yet. Easy with all the noise. Take it easy. Stop that. I said no more. Hey-o. All right, thank you. But be like, listen, kid. How old are you now? Did you not learn your days of the week? It's Wednesday. You tell me when it's going to be Friday. It's Wednesday. When's it going to be Friday? Oh, after Thursday, right? Can you imagine? That would be like some a fantastic parenting tactic, right? Mommy, when's it going to be Friday? What's the matter with you, you dizzy little bastard? It's Wednesday. Didn't we go over this when you were 2? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Work with me. Hey-o. All right, I'm sorry. That's enough. I love children out there. It was a funny little thought there about how the conceptualization of time, as it were, right? It almost has to be ingrained into you when you're a child, as opposed to, you know, we wouldn't think of it that way, right? I mean, I guess if we weren't so trapped in this nonsensical, you know, societal structure that we're in, this matrix, as it were, we probably would just focus. We wouldn't even think about time. What time is it? We would just like watch where the sun is in the sky, know where the moon is, and know the seasons and the time of day and all that, just based on, you know, the feel and the flow of the earth, as opposed to, you know, the ticking and the talking of the clocking, you know, all day long. And is it 2 o'clock? Is it 3 o'clock? And what's your schedule? What do you got to do? And be here and be there, you know, and all that stuff. But anyway, that is all just my initial hello from trying to remember that today was Wednesday. So you never know what you're going to get here on Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. And by the way, I am P. Palma. I am your user-friendly host here on Operation Status Quo. If you have not been here before, well, welcome, and thank you for taking the time to be with me here today. Of course, it's always a pleasure to have you out there. I'm here for you, and you're there for me, and it's really a beautiful synergistic kind of thing that we're doing together, right? Okay, so here on Operation Status Quo, if you're not familiar, this is a place where we observe the status quo of life. Then we learn to flow with the status quo of life. And then, of course, we create our own flow of quo, because that's the only way to go. So you know here that we're always just kind of looking at what's going on in the world, and we just kind of put a little, we just kind of skip down the road a little bit, you know, with a little smile on our face, and we watch what's going on, and we don't get crazy upset. We don't get worried. You know, we don't take everything so seriously and heavy. We understand that the outside world is a projection of fear and insanity, as it were. Anything to do to try to keep people from knowing their true selves and being their best selves. You know, it's really kind of an ironic dynamic if you think about it. You know, we're born into a world that's like designed to keep you from succeeding. It's like, well, why am I born in the first place then? You know, let's just stop the whole born thing and move forward. But no, that's God's plan. So, you know, we can't argue with the necessity for our 3D existence and our embodiment into these physical entities for whatever lessons there may be to learn or whatever the ultimate purposes of the universe. So thank you, universe. We appreciate everything you're doing. We do appreciate the universe. I think that's an important thing to remember. Let's never get mad at, you know, a lot of times people say, oh, there's no God. If there was a God, this wouldn't be like this. And why would God let this happen? You know, and I think people forget ultimately that we are all God and it's all one energy. So it's not like God letting anything happen. Like, if we're doing it, then we're letting it happen, right? I'm just saying, it's not like God's sitting there going, Yeah, these people are effing shit up pretty bad. I don't know. Maybe I should step in. I don't know. What should I do? I mean, I don't think God's thinking of it that way. So it's a pretty limiting thought process to blame God for the bad in the world. Okay, all right. So, but here we're not talking about that today, are we? I don't know, because we talk about a lot of things. This is the live stream of consciousness, as it were, when we're here live, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what we do. But today is the 19th of July in the good year 2023. Hello and again and welcome. So happy to have you here. And today's program is entitled Actors for AI. So I found this to be an interesting thought today, as far as, of course, we know first the writers went on strike in Hollywood. And from what I understand about that situation, I guess they were complaining that they're using now this AI to write some of the scripts and the stories, and they feel like they're being put out of their jobs. So they don't want that to be. So they're on strike. And now, of course, the actors are on strike basically for the same thing, saying that they don't want AI to be used to recreate their likeness or any of that type of thing. They're trying to protect them as a property, or what do you want to call it? Whatever. What's the word I was looking for? But they're protecting their own image and rights of who they are. That's what they're saying. But anyway. As you know, we go down the rabbit holes a little bit here on Operation Status Quo, not because we believe like to make it like everything's like a heavy conspiracy or anything like that, because again, everything's just happening the way it's meant to happen, and there's multiple levels and dynamics of energies that are interplaying in our existence, and it's really fascinating and it's very deep. But of course, as I speak on many times, we're in a stage now where humanity is kind of releasing itself from the old bondage, as it were, of how we've been the generational traumas and structures and everything that's been going on. I mean, that's exactly what's happening. That's why you see the world in so much quote unquote chaos. I mean, if you're watching the news and all, of course you think everything is chaos, but if you see it from another perspective, you realize that we're merely blossoming into something much more beautiful and better, and it's really up to the individual to which side of the coin they want to be open to and flow with, right? So I've talked about this multiple times, and I'll try to say it at because I'm sure most people have heard about this kind of thought process by now. I'm really not sure how controversial it is. I would think that people are relatively open to the idea that this is happening, and of course I'm speaking on human trafficking, which is probably the biggest problem that has gone on in our society for many decades. And really, it's a huge business, and that is exactly why we're in the structure that we're kept in, because the powers that be, it's a whole organization of human trafficking, with the adrenochrome and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the banks are involved. The stuff with Epstein Island, and it just goes on and on. It's all part of the same conglomerate, if you would, and so. And Hollywood, just like all the other parts of our mainstream society, our educational system, our banking system, I said banking system, I was going to say financial system, but the same thing, and also our our Hollywood, our entertainment, our sports, everything are basically just, and I'm not going to say it's all bad, because nothing in the world is ever all bad, right? But they have taken all these aspects and dynamics of our day-to-day existence and have infiltrated them with this evil, right, to perpetuate so that they can continue to do the things that they do and normalize. That's why there's so much controversy, even with I know like the trans thing is like a huge thing, and I don't, again, there's nothing wrong with anybody doing whatever they want to do and be what you want to be. Like, I'm all cool with all that stuff, but it's so over the top insane with mixing the genders and the sports and the different things like that. Trying to encourage a child, a prepubescent child, to start having some sort of surgeries or therapies because they decide they want to be a different gender. That kind of stuff is just like over the top, right? We have to recognize that, but our mainstream society wants to normalize those type of ideas so that somebody who's like thinking for themselves seems like some kind of like, crazy. And I love when I see the stories that they put on. They make it like, it's this crazy, like this right wing extremism, not allowing people to flourish, to be free and themselves and all this type of thing. And it's like, the truth is like half these people, unfortunately, and I don't mean anything bad, but half these people probably wouldn't even go down that road if our society wasn't set up in a way of like mushing everybody's minds and the confusion of everything. I mean, they create an environment where you're confused. So of course it's easy to try to then create an agenda to say like, everybody needs to, decide. We're not going to assign genders to anybody. I mean, like, it just makes no sense. I mean, do you think like in nature, any other animals, like you think like when a bear, has its little cubs, does the bear say, well, let's not say that you're a male bear or a female bear until, maybe, you wait a little bit, you eat a few salmon, and then you decide down the line if you want to be, a female bear or male bear. Maybe you're a black bear and you decide you want to be a polar bear, like you're just, you're a koala bear, you're a grizzly, and you decide, I don't want to be a grizzly bear. It's too violent for me. I'd like to be, I identify as a koala bear. So next thing you know, you got your grizzly bears, hanging out with the other koala bears, and I don't know what happens there. The koala bears are eating their bamboo, and the grizzly bear probably eats the koala. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. I identify as one of you. I don't know why I'm eating you. I'm sorry. That's too much. Hey-o. So actors for AI here. I'm going to try to stay on topic if I could for just a moment. So what's going on? These actors now want to protect their likeness, right? So they're against this AI and they're on strike. Part of everything that's going on with this human trafficking and everything that's going on in this world, and that's part really. It started with 2020 being the year of the Great Awakening, and COVID was the catalyst. When they shut down the world and put everybody in their homes, everybody had a chance to kind of reset and start looking at things in a different perspective. Unless you're one of those kooky mask wearing sons of bitches. I'm sorry. I should have said that. I don't mean it. I'm really sorry. Why do I have to have a problem with that all the time? People who believe in the pandemic. I'm really sorry. I am. It's your choice to believe. But anyway, so going forward, if I could, these actors, what I look at this is because there's been a lot of talk of, the shit's going to hit the fan in a way down the line somehow. I'm never a believer that all of a sudden it's going to be some great, shake up. Everything shuts down and, the whole world is in total chaos. Like, everything kind of happens subtly in stages. Like, for example, this movie just came out after, first of all, I never even realized all this about the human trafficking and what goes on with Hollywood and the pedophilia and everything. I really didn't realize any of that. And, all my years, I know I'm sure, obviously I know that sometimes these types of things happen, but not that it was the business that it was the way that it is. And so when 2020 came around and that information really first started to come out, and I looked at everything and I was waiting, like I was so ready, like, by the end of 2020, I was ready for, I thought everything was going to come out. It was going to be exposed, Epstein Island and everything that was really going on and how it's all tied in with the banks, JP Morgan, everything. And, how the suppression of our whole society, and the lies were being told and through media, and everything. So, but of course, what happened? Excuse me, it didn't happen. But over these past couple of years, since then, little by little, more and more, obviously it started with the election, with the Trump-Biden election and, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, the fake insurrection on January 6th, those were kind of the things that really got people heated up and pissed off and started looking into, how our systems are manipulated, how are we being lied to and, all that type of stuff. And but that led into, other issues to, now we're to the point where, they don't even want to admit that good old Hunter had cocaine in the White House. Whether he did or didn't, because it's all show and bullshit anyway. But I mean, just saying it. I just think it's so funny. That's another story that they make it like it's a total setup and an attack by the right to try to influence the election and hurt Biden. I'm like, are these guys like out of their mind? Like it's everything's so one-sided. It's like, so Hunter Biden has like drug problems and all this stuff. Like there's tons of evidence out there of like things that he's done. But no, it's only a ploy to to try to, bring down Biden. It's I don't know. I mean, but at the same time, they attacked Trump. If Trump was to jaywalk, they probably would have 6 helicopters over him and, indict him for it. So, I mean, it's just like over the top, out of control. So of being one-sided and weaponizing our justice system and all that type of stuff. But it's just to say, weaponizing the justice system, it's not like it's about how it's attacking us. I mean, you think about you as a normal everyday person in life, right? If what you would get away with compared to what these people are getting away with, these higher ups, these politicians, these corporate leaders, they get away with murder. I mean, they literally do, right? I mean, they get away with murder. But if you do something wrong one time, like, they'll send you away forever. So, and on top of it, it just comes down to like anything else. If they like you, if you're in the clique, you're okay. If you're not in the clique, they have all this to use and they'll destroy your life if necessary. So going back again to the AI with the Hollywood, I find it interesting because part of the dynamic of how some of this information is supposed to come out is that there are plenty of videos and such of very prominent people in Hollywood, engaging in despicable acts with children. So, and I find it interesting because my concept on this basically is how interesting is it that all of a sudden, like really since this year started, right, it's really kind of, kicked off where this AI stuff has just been like top of the news, AI, everything. AI, and the chatbot comes out, and the AI this and the AI that, and everybody's afraid. Oh, is AI going to take over the world? And boo, 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 boo. And they got everybody wrapped up in AI now. Now they keep saying you can't. Now you don't know what's real, what's not. How do you know this? It's AI, and I think that is because, again, everything's a show and everything's a movie. Nothing is really the way they show it to you and tell it to you. And what isn't an interesting concept to think that these actors now are on strike to protect their likeness because they don't want to, be utilized, AI to be utilized to recreate them in a movie or whatever. And I think to myself, well, it's pretty convenient, right? Because then if the stuff really came out about the human trafficking and all the pedophilia in Hollywood and all these elite actors and stuff that people adore so much, and the things that they have done with children, and that, wouldn't it be convenient that when these videos and information comes out, that they can go, oh, that's not me. That's AI. That's why we're on strike. That's AI. That's what we're fighting against. It's AI. Here comes the AI. Look out. There it is. I got it. I got AI. AI. It's always about the AI. All right. Thank you. So basically, that's what we're talking about here today, right? So it's just because remember, Operation Status Quo is a place to keep an open mind, to look at the world, not just through like the linear lens that they show us all the time. This little petri dish. I always say the little petri dish of shit that they keep us in. So it's really not about that, right? It's pretty interesting because to me, it's more of when seeing a story like this based on all the stuff I've kind of researched over the past 3 years. I say, wow, it's like, because nothing's ever going to come out just one boom. They're never going to be able to come out and just go boom. This is it. This is all the truth and everything. It'd be too much, for people to handle, right? I mean, you wouldn't even know what to do it themselves. So, but if they do it in these subtle ways, that little by little, the information kind of bleeds out, and then you start, over time, you already have like the building blocks of the first part, and then more information comes out, and that kind of builds on that, and then people are able to, for those that are meant to or are open to it, are able to see, the bigger picture. Of course, that movie came out, I guess a few weeks ago now. Was it Sound of Freedom? Is that what it's called? Sound of Freedom? About the human trafficking. And, when's a movie like that come out, like, to expose that type of thing? And it's just, so I find it's just the timing of everything is really interesting, especially if you follow all the facets, the economic part of it. And, I'm sorry, 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. I thought my phone was, I'm going to have to decline this call. Actually, let me decline this call, and I will get back to this individual as soon as I'm finished. Okay. So yeah, that's basically what's going on. I feel it's just part of the unraveling of the old paradigm and everything that's coming out, the truth. I mean, we have to, at some point, like you see what's going on with Disney is another good example. Like it's like, the numbers are way down for people going to Disney. They got all this legal stuff going on. They make it like DeSantis isn't some kind of animal, but it's part of it. Like, it's part of bringing attention to it. I mean, Disney's like one of the worst, most evil spaces for grooming children, child trafficking, all that type of stuff. So, and that's why, like, DeSantis isn't going to come out and say, we're shutting down Disney because of human trafficking, but they could take away their privileges with the taxes and the different things and start, and they make it like it's a controversy over something else. Like, they make it like, oh, it's over the woke agenda or something. But, really the woke agenda is part of like what is contributing to keeping people asleep so that they can continue to, treat people like shit, basically. So anyway, just some food for thought here today on Operation Status Quo, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty interesting that the actors are coming out against this AI and the same thing. I know a lot of people are not even aware of what I'm, if you're just like, I apologize, I don't mean use the word normie or whatever, how they say sometimes in the truth community, but if you're just like an everyday Joe or Jane and you don't really even get into any of that type of stuff or think that way at all, it may be a lot to hear, but Hollywood is unfortunately, and I'm someone who always loved, I love movies. I always wanted to be an actor. I'm involved in that community. I really like it, but I'm so glad that I never got into it because God knows where I would have ended up or what. But there's plenty of proof and stories and testimonials and whatever you want to say of what's going on out there with, and they even show it in the movies, to be honest. There's that one movie with Johnny Depp, I forget, and they show him, he's drinking this little vial of blood, and all the vampire movies, it's all has to do with the children and the adrenochrome and it's really, I can't get into all of it like that, but they're lying to us. Hollywood is a cover. Our sports are a cover. The mainstream news is a cover, and everything is like kind of coming out. And I personally really find it interesting because of my perspective as I see the way these things are unfolding and how things are coming out. It's all just a way to continue to expose truth and to dismantle the old systems that have kept us enslaved. So even if you're angry with what I'm saying and think I'm some kind of crazy conspiracy, tinfoil hat wearing, whatever, I say all this in everyone's best interest because, the more that we can dissolve the systems that have kept us in the paradigm that we've been in, that's freedom, people, and that's what we're moving towards. So I look at what's happening with Hollywood. Hollywood's been like kind of effed up since COVID, right? It was real. I wasn't operating for a while. A lot of stories like a town was empty, over time, and it never really bounced back to the way they've been putting movies out, but it's not the same as how it was before COVID, and that's because it's part of what's going on. It's part of the takedown of all these entities that have been keeping us suppressed for all these years. So that's basically what's going on. So keep an eye out, and remember this episode when the information starts coming out about these Hollywood celebrities and messing around with the kids and all the stuff that they're doing, and see how it plays out if they start coming out saying, oh no, it's just AI, it's not really Robert De Niro. I don't know, maybe Robert De Niro is good, who knows, but I always loved De Niro, but I'm not really sure which side he's on. I hope, you know what I mean? But anyway, what are you going to do? It doesn't really matter. It's all it's all just a mind bleep anyway. Everything's part of the psy-op, and ultimately the only truth you're ever going to find in this world is to go inside into your heart, to the center space, to be with oneness, to be with source, to trust your intuition, getting back to those type of basics, and stop looking for anything out there to fill you up in here, right? Okay. All right. Well, that's what I got for you here today on Operation Status Quo. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for your time. If you haven't done so already, and it feels right to you, because it would feel right to me, if you would just like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. We want to keep everybody in the loop, don't we? All right. I love each and every one of you out there, individually as well as a group. God bless you. I hope you're having a great day and all that kind of stuff. And until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, disengaged.